Welcome, everybody, to the Ogden Way Podcast, a place where we talk about Ogden's people and Ogden stories through the people that have lived it and who breathe it, including today, joined by Lorenzo Gutiérrez. Lorenzo, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Renzo, I call you.
Renzo,
right?
Yeah.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
I've actually really enjoyed getting to know you, really since I kind of became involved in politics. I got to know you not because you're involved in that you're political,
Yeah.
but because you're really active in our community and really engaged and giving and serving of others.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up crossing paths.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So it's great to have you here to talk about your story.
Hey, thank you, man. It's been about 2 years now?
Yeah, it's been a good couple
about
years.
2 years,
right?
so yeah.
And that went fast.
Yeah.
I guess time goes fast when you're busy.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep, we were just talking about that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were busy doing community festivals,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've done backpack drives,
Yep, haircuts
for
yep.
kids, right?
Yep.
Lots of different community things to serve kids mostly and families.
Yep.
And you've been a huge help in connecting me and connecting us, connecting resources. I would definitely say you're a connector.
For sure.
Community connector. And that's been a huge help.
Yeah.
But over that time, I've really gotten to know you and gotten to know some of your story. And I really
Mhm.
appreciate that you're willing to be here and help share a bit of that story
Yeah, of
with
course.
the people. Because I really feel like your story is, it's a story that deserves to be told because it's a story around redemption. It's a story about second chances. It's
Yeah.
a story about self-determination and drive and making good and making right.
Yeah.
Right.
It really is too, and it's usually something that I don't lead with, because I want people to know me for me, but as I talk to like my mom and stuff, she's like, Lorenzo, you got a story, you really do. And I'm so busy thinking about other things and goals and dreams and ambitions that I don't really pay attention to that, but yeah, I know it,
That's a good problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with your upbringing. Like, tell us about your childhood, where you grew up and how you grew up.
Oh man, my childhood, it was something. It was actually fun. When I think about it now, like it was really fun, but it was tough, man. I grew up with divorced parents, my mom, single mom, working 2 jobs. Well, the crazy thing is we was talking, and last time we had spoke is like the struggles of the mothers and stuff, and is like she was made enough money that she couldn't get benefits, but was broke, and that was a hard thing. I remember like going to Catholic Community Services to get food, the secondhand stores, all that stuff, shopping at Savers for school clothes, all of it, bro. So like it was tough in that sense with a single mother. My dad was he was in my life and stuff, and I'd go and see him every other weekend, and he was a good father. At that time, he was still figuring himself out, but despite everything that he's been through, bro, it was he was always a provider. I can really honestly say that.
Good for good for him. Always trying, right?
Always trying, yeah.
I think we have a tendency to look back and blame.
Yeah.
Where it's also, I think it's pretty common that if you really set aside the blame, you look and maybe they are where they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're on their own journey.
Yep.
And
especially that time though too, because he was a young man himself.
Right.
So mother and father both trying to figure out life. And I understand that now, being a man and trying to figure out my own life.
Right.
So I definitely have an understanding and compassion for it.
Yeah, as a man, as a father,
yeah,
what it's like to be a provider.
Yep.
But also what it's like on your own journey.
Yeah.
You're coming out of a lot of stuff too that ended up kind of come later, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so so you had love in your life.
I did.
And you had some providing in your life, but you also had some separation. You had 2 parents that were going through their journeys and finding themselves too and building themselves along the way.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course you got a child in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So did that make you feel like there was just a lot of uncertainty or unsettledness?
I don't think so. I think I've been very fortunate being the middle child, and especially like, because me and my older brother, that we're the only full-blooded brothers. Everybody were half, So we were always together, but he was always a protector. And I think that, especially with where I'm at today in my life, that he was crucial in that, in protecting my spirit, But what I think, honestly, man, is like I said, I think it was fun because I had siblings, right? I feel bad for my son because he don't have nobody but himself. But when you have siblings, it's fun because, you got your little banter back and forth. You got the stupid stuff you guys do together. And, like I remember making haunted houses in the house and scaring each other. And doing at this time Fear Factory was really big, and you know how they drink stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So we was putting milk, ketchup, and all this stuff together and daring each other to drink it. Just the stupid stuff you do as kids, you know. So I think that like when I reflect on that stuff, I cherish it because it was fun, it was innocent, it was love.
Yeah.
You know.
That's funny. When I think back of mine, I'm the youngest of 5, including 4 boys. My sister's the oldest. She probably beat me up the most and loved me the most, though. But I just remember building boxing rings out of Tinker Toys and just getting my face pulverized by my brothers and thinking it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was just how boys have fun sometimes too, right?
That's how it goes, man. I remember one time we had this ramp and we had concrete blocks and leftover plywood and all this, tires and everything, and just built a big old ramp, and they told me to go down it on my bike. As soon as I was going up it, they kicked it out from underneath me. And,
I mean,
let's just say I got messed up on that one. But that, like, looking back at that, it hurt at the time, but it's gone. That memory's gone. Like, that moment is gone, but I love it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, so you leaned a lot on your brother.
Yeah.
So tell the listeners where you were growing up.
So I grew up right here on 26th and Harrison. So I went to Polk Elementary is where I went up until middle school, and then I ended up staying with my father. He lived in West Ogden, right on Pennsylvania, next to the Coca-Cola factory. Mm-hmm. I love that too because at that time there was nothing there. So, you know, us being Mexicans, we're partiers, so we'd have parties and stuff.
This is true.
And it was cops. You wouldn't get in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's calling the cops because your cousin lived next door. We're right here. Nobody knows. But so I'd go back and forth. But I went to Polk up until elementary, all through elementary. Then I went to Mountain Fort Middle School up until 7th grade. And then I went and moved with my mom, and that's when she had gotten divorced from my little brother's father. And went to T.H. Bell. I was a T.H. Bell Minuteman for a couple years until I got kicked out of there. And then I ended up going to Summit View down on 12th Street. And then from Summit View, I went to Two Rivers and then dropped out. So I dropped out in 10th grade.
So it's about 7th grade, things started to go a little haywire.
That's when things really started changing. Yeah.
You started acting up?
Yeah. At that time, my brother had just went to jail. So, like, kind of that provision was gone. So I was kind of left figuring things out for my own, you know.
Was he kind of an example for you, too, and to have that example
absolutely.
Make a mistake?
Because he held me accountable, you know, right or wrong. And I think that's, you know, and as you get older, you know, with family members, sometimes you drift apart or things come in the way or whatever. But, you know, I love him to death, you know, with everything that he's taught me. He's a big part of who I am.
Yeah. How long was he away?
A year. Yeah. 6 days. No, he was a year. So, yeah.
So you're going through parents that are divorced. You lose your rock, your brother, your example, your kind of your hero.
Yeah.
And then is that when you started finding the trouble?
Yeah, that's when I started running the streets, man. And like I talk to my buddies now about it, but back then it was a different day and age, you know, it was a different time, especially the examples that we had then compared to what kids have now. So the streets were the only way, you know, like that we related to. So we was out partying, drinking, smoking, all that stuff, you know, getting into trouble, fights, all of it. But yeah, that's when things really started turning for me.
Okay, and you dropped out. You said 10th or 11th?
10th grade.
10th grade.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, when did you get picked up?
So it was a couple years after that I got picked up. At that time, you know, I was school. My mom would always tell me, Lorenzo, just apply yourself. You know, like, you're smart, just apply yourself. I didn't find it entertaining, so I would just go and sit there and be the class clown. And it's funny now because I'm dealing with that with my son. Yeah. So I try to tell him, like, trust me, that's not what you want. But it was a couple years after that, man, that I ended up catching my case and then being sent up to prison.
All right. So you willing to talk about your case?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about the case.
So what happened was my case is a robbery and a kidnapping. We ended up, and this is why on the grand scale of things, and it's hard for me to explain it because it's something that I just feel that where I'm at today and what I've been fortunate and blessed enough to do or be a part of means so much to me is because, you know, I've taken away from the community. But with that said, we ended up doing a robbery over here at the old D's that used to be on 33rd, I think it was.
Yep.
And that's what we ended up getting sent up for.
How many of you were there?
There was four of us.
Four?
Yeah.
And then how'd the kidnapping charge get added on there?
So and this is funny because God works in crazy ways, because the connections that we've been able to build. But anyways, the way the kidnapping works is if you move anybody within, I want to say 6 or 3 feet against their will, it's kidnapping.
Gotcha.
Now with it being a robbery and a gun being involved, aggravated kidnapping.
Okay. And how old are you now at this point?
33.
No, not
Oh,
in the story.
In the story. I was 19.
19.
Just turned 19.
Okay.
Yep.
A lot of years ago.
Lifetime ago, feels like.
All right. So you get arrested, go to trial?
No, we all pled out.
Pled out?
Yep.
Okay. So how long were you in prison?
9 years.
9 years.
Yep.
Down in Point of the Mountain?
So I did half my time in Gunnison and half my time in Draper.
Okay.
I got to see the Draper. Coming from where I come from, that's tales you hear about it,
Oh, okay.
And I experienced it, so yeah.
Did it, for lack of a better term, live up to the...
Oh my gosh, bro. Honestly, being in prison was probably the most humbling experience because I've always known that, God has blessed me with some good qualities, but I went to prison and seen a lot of people with a lot of potential, a lot of charisma, and they just made a bad choice like I did. And some of them lengthier and more severe than mine was, and just being in that lifestyle and what comes with it, it's not what you want.
No.
No, yeah.
So I've never been in prison like that. I've been in prison.
Yeah.
Just to clarify. But I was doing it for work.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a place I couldn't wait to get out of.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent multiple days in the jail and the prison setting for work.
Yeah.
In my past career.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to get out of there every time.
Yeah.
It is not a comfortable place to be at all.
Me and you both.
and I knew I wasn't in there for good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was jarring to think about it, actually. So I don't know what you must have been going through at that time, but
you know what? It's at that being in there. It was hard because it taught me a lot. And the biggest lesson that I took away from it is just the emotional strength that I have, the mental strength that I have, but and control. Because being in there, some years are good, some years are bad. Like you're on edge. It's uncomfortable. I haven't had a good sleep since.
Really? Yeah,
since before going in. Because I was just a kid. I didn't have any worries then. But coming out now, it's different. But yeah, it's definitely a place that I would definitely want to have any part that I could play to have kids or anybody else avoid.
Yeah, for sure. What's your mindset like when you get there? Are you scared? Are you immediately regretful? Are you being kind of brash about it? And
no, I mean, after the case, I felt the remorse. You know what I mean? Because by nature, I know my nature now. Then I didn't, but I'm loving, I'm caring, Mm-hmm. But when I get there, yeah, you're afraid, and it's like I'm only a kid. Now I'm with the big dogs, and it's humiliating, when you got to bend over, squat, cough, and you're butt naked in front of all these men and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and everything that goes along with it. Yeah, it feels pretty degrading. And I understood a long time ago, my dad would always tell me, Lorenzo, you need to pick and choose your battles. So going into prison, I knew that me acting up to the cops isn't going to do anything. I'm going to end up in Max or wherever, and it's not going to help my situation. Like, I want to go home. So I understood that from the beginning.
Okay. So you said earlier that your older brother really protected your spirit.
Yeah.
Now your older brother went to jail. He gets out, but now you're in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Now your spirit's it's your own now, right?
And I think it's funny how my mind works, but as I think, it's like, because he was my protector and everything then, you know what I mean? Because like I said, my mom always being gone and my dad every other weekend, and I didn't like going with him. I was a mama's boy, so I didn't like going with him. Every time I'm like, nah, I don't want to go there. But he had to figure out things the hard way, so he always paved the way, you know. But I think leading up, and that's why I think it's so crucial, leading up to going to prison, it was important because I was ready for what was to come, you know. Because there's times as grown men, you got to stand on business. There's people that are going to test you and challenge you, you know. But even beyond that, the values that were instilled in me with respect and knowing when to stand up and diffuse an altercation before it even happens, you know, because you go in there, they get a sense of fear, they're going to capitalize on it. But if you go in there and they can feel your energy that, he's cool. Like nothing, you know what I mean? You'll be okay. And just everything that I've went through prepared me for that, you know?
So on one hand, you talk about, I was just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
On another hand, you're with, what you said, with the big dogs. You're amongst men now.
Mm-hmm.
Men of age anyway,
mm-hmm.
maybe not emotionally or whatever, maturity wise.
Yeah.
But now you have to be a man.
Oh yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. You know, I thought running the streets and stuff and doing the stuff that I've done is, you think that, you know, until you really go in a place and you're like, oh, you know, like, look at this big old dude. How, you know, he tries to press me. What am I going to do? You know, but you have to stand tall. And that's with anything. You have to stand tall. You have to stand firm.
So did you, so early on in your sentence, you had to stand up for yourself just to make the point?
Yeah. Within my first 3 months, I got into an altercation and you had to stand on it. You know, was I nervous? And
sure.
Cause I'm like, man, I don't want to lose my day. I don't, this, that, the other, you know, everything goes through your mind, but you have to do it, you know?
All right. So what goes through your mind for the rest of you said it's 4 years you were in? How many years were you in? Total? 9 years.
9 years.
Okay. And you did half
and half
and half at Gunnison. So what goes through your mind the whole time? You're dead set on getting out. You're dead set on behaving and making sure that you get home almost from the jump, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you focused on learning, on growth, on spirituality? What are the things that got you through?
God's grace got me through ultimately all of it, but along the way I was heavily interested in my education, you know. I remember one time we went to, cuz this is what I liked about Gunnison. At the time, it's a little different now, but at the time it was awesome when I seen it. But they provided a lot of classes. You can do your schooling, your education, and then they had other stuff that you can do, you know, coding and diesel mechanics and stuff that you can get involved in. But I remember I went into class. This was like after I got transferred down to Gunnison my first month, and the teacher calls me up to do a subtraction problem on the board, and I didn't know how to do it. And I was like, I felt embarrassed, like, oh shit, you know. So after that, it was like game time.
You got work to do.
Yeah, I can't be like that. Hell no. So, at that time, I was 4 or 5 years. I'd done it all, man. Accounting, got my high school diploma, business administration, anything and everything that I can do, I was involved in.
Yeah,
you know.
And then so that was at Gunnison.
That was at Gunnison.
But when you got to Draper, you started learning carpentry.
I did some carpentry, yeah. So I did. I worked for UCI. I did the furniture shop for a little while, and then at that time, I ended up quitting the furniture shop because at that time they were offering time cuts for if you did like building trades or vocational stuff. So I went and did the business administration and got a time cut, you know. But I've done that. I've done the construction. And that's the thing, man, is I've had great people along my way, like in my path, like. When I worked for UCI, when I was up in Draper, I had a boss, Cody Nowling. I'll never forget him. He was just so cool because he would always just tell me, like, he trusted me. Like, okay, you'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I had Bobby. She was like a protector, but she always looked out for me, like, you know, in such a way that to this day, I'm very appreciative. But she would always test me because I was a clerk. So she'd give me these stupid little tasks, but ultimately what she was doing, she was testing me and she was preparing me, you know? And so when I got out, I had a skill set that I was comfortable with, you know?
So testing you, challenging you.
Challenging me, yep.
Seeing where, if you'll rise to it. Right?
Yeah.
So it does sound like you took a lot of personal responsibility early on.
Yeah.
And all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
That you use that responsibility to turn it into self-determination, right? through your own self-determination, you accessed opportunities that were there, provided for you.
Mm-hmm.
You took advantage of them, and they worked.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also were surrounded by people that helped lift you while you were doing the work for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that is everything that the Ogden Way stands for.
Yeah.
It's about self-determination, taking responsibility for our circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that there are hard things all around us, we know. And we as a community have got to do a lot of work to try and remove those barriers,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
But I think it's important that we all kind of wrap our arms around each other and help lift each other.
Yeah.
You know, we can make opportunities available, but if we don't connect people with them and prepare them for them and then help them while they're there, then I don't think we're much of a community.
No, for sure.
Then we're a city of individuals.
And it's hard,
you know?
too, because you get, especially in today's day and age where there's so much, I mean, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but there's so much opinion out there. And there's so much difference that it's hard to meet that, you know, the median, what we can agree on and genuinely agree on that. We may not agree on everything, but there's things we can agree on and work together, you know, and that's with anything. That's even with Twan. There's not things we agree on, but we're able to work together for the bigger picture, you know?
Yeah. That's our friend, mutual friend, Antoine.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
So, it's at this point, it's how do you find that, you know?
Well, you find it because you find your people.
Yeah.
You find your community, right?
Yep. And that's what me and Cindy were talking about too, is, you know, with everything that we're doing as far as our community work, there's people I've had in mind when we're putting these things together that I'm like, they would love this. And those weren't the people that showed up, you know? So it made me think that Lorenzo, and I've always known, but who's there is who it's meant for.
Mm-hmm.
And so now moving forward, when we do these events, like, that's who I prepare for, you know, because these are the people that it's for.
That's for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're going to get to the community part.
Yeah.
Because actually it's a good foreshadow because you guys are doing a lot of great things for families.
Yeah.
But before then, you know, you had to get released. You've been on probation.
Yep.
Congratulations, just getting off probation, a couple months ago?
Yeah. Yep. A couple months now.
Right.
Feels unreal.
That was 5 years?
5 years. Yep.
Yep. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess that day, just talking with you, I was there the day before or the day after?
I want to say it was the day before.
Day before you were released, and you were like, yeah, here it is. It just quietly came.
Yeah, so I had put in for it like a couple years before, and because they wanted to originally keep me for 10 years on parole because of the kidnapping. And I had put it on a couple years before, and they're like, no, the earliest you could put on is 2025. So we kind of put on in just a little bit earlier, and they approved it.
Because you proved up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And did they look at the things that you're doing with your life, with things you're doing for others?
I would hope, you know,
right?
But I had, so Jamie wrote a letter for me. I had Jamie and I had Allie write a letter, and we submitted that with the board, and then a breakdown of what we've done, and articles and whatever we can find, you know.
Mm.
And yeah, they came back in 2 weeks, a 2-week date, you know. So I was like, cool. Yeah, right. I'll do it.
It worked.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on that.
Thank you.
And big thanks to Jamie. And
absolutely.
Just, that's a perfect example of Jamie being there. Because she's another mutual friend,
mm-hmm.
Jamie Renda, who has, she's got a political profile, we'll say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And interestingly, and Jamie and I talk about this all the time. I'm like, man, every time I sit down and talk with you, you're totally different than what people might expect you to be.
Yeah.
She's got a huge heart. She's got strong opinions.
Yeah.
Like, fine. I love that.
Yeah.
Right. But she's got such a big heart and a abundance mentality for so many people around her.
Yeah.
That she does that act of lifting others around her a lot.
Oh, she's, man, for what we've been able to accomplish and just the encouragement, you know, and the support has been crucial.
Yeah.
And she's opens up so many doors for us, and I'm forever grateful for Jamie. Like, I was just up at the Capitol with her today because she wanted me to speak, and it's not something I really want to do, but I'm like, for you, Jamie, I'll do it, you know? So I definitely have a great love and appreciation and respect for Jamie.
She was challenging you just like the lady in business administration was doing for you.
Well, she challenged me a little too much, but no, she's that's how I looked at it. Is it was uncomfortable, you know, but I have to get used to being uncomfortable because that's where I'm going to grow.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've been a lot more uncomfortable than that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's growth and excellence are hard.
Yeah.
Actually, it hurts.
Yeah.
but you have to go through some of that pain point to get to greatness, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you've gone through a lot of pain
Yeah.
to get through it, but hopefully it's worth it. Feels good where you're at now.
Sometimes I question if this is what God really has in store for me, or if this is, because the truth is, and in the position that you're in, is things get exhausting, mentally and emotionally, and physically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough, but it's
Well, I guess I think if I'm not questioning it, then I'm just content.
Yeah.
And I'm not very comfortable being content.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not happy with a lot of things. It's just that I like to always be driving toward being better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's hard to find that balance. I mean, for me, being a single father, it's tough because with what we're doing, it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. And, somebody is losing at some point, and that's my son.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I think about it all the time too.
Yeah, it's hard.
But you go through all of that. You said it early on. You had an impact on the community that was not good. You said you took from the community or something early on.
Yeah, took. Yep, and just because you're affecting people's lives, and in their confidence and their security, and that's hard to get back.
Yeah. So do you feel like what you're doing now is not only investing in yourself and improving yourself, but you're trying to give back and make up for what you've done or what you've heard?
No, I don't. What's done is done. I don't feel that I can make that up. I've obviously feel for the victims, and I would hope that they've forgiven us and understand where we came from, and at that time,
Yeah.
But giving all the community work, man, is just strictly from the heart. It's something that it's just God's work, bro. That's the only way that I can define it. It's just God's work. It's nothing that we think of and have a motive behind. It's just we hear a calling and we go for it.
Yep. I mean, I say it all the time, and in the job, say it publicly. Service to others is service to God.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
But whether you believe in Christ or if you have a strong faith in our Creator or whatever, or spirituality, whatever it is that your true north is, right? It's important that we all have that.
Yeah.
Something that we believe in, that we strive toward and lean on when things are hard.
Absolutely. That's been crucial, man, in every aspect of my life. And from prison, I feel like my grandparents' prayers, my mother's prayers protected me, because I've been in some situations in there that where thank God it didn't go that way. But even beyond that, getting out and just like everything with my wife, that was the real big thing, man, is when with my wife I had I asked God, a question to reveal something to me, and he did in such a way that it was just like he just reaffirmed that I'm here, everything's okay. Even though you go through trials and tribulations and things get hard and losses or whatever, like I'm here all through it all.
That's how faith is born, right?
Yeah. So
let's talk about your community work.
Okay.
Tell us the name of your organization and the work that you guys do.
So our organization is For One and All. What we try to focus on is what we feel is to serve the underserved community. And when we say underserved community, the people that feel that they don't have a voice or a belonging in the community. And we just try to do what we try to do is we try to create social engagements where people can feel that they belong, and we try to do it in a way that there's no burden to the people. So we try to keep everything free, and so far we've been fortunate enough to. But that all comes with the cost as well too. So we just really, man, we just want to just ignite the spirit and just uplift the people and give a sense of hope, because it's not us, it's God. We're just opening the doors.
Yeah.
And let him do the work.
Well, you and I have talked a lot. Last time when you were in my office, we were talking about it's all about people's spirit, sense of hope. You've probably heard me talk about the kids at Ben Lomond that told me that there's a lot of kids at school that have lost hope, that's a tragedy.
Yeah.
Right? And literally could lead to or has led to tragedies, real tragedies.
Absolutely.
And that's important, and it's hard to quantify. But that's where I think a lot of the work that you're doing, where you create these events and festivals, you bring people together. It's important to me that I'm not just sitting on the 9th floor of the municipal building, presuming things and putting my life experiences on everyone else. And just thinking that because I'm creating opportunities, or like if I go out and we land a big company, they relocate here and they're going to start hiring a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I don't feel like my work's done.
Yeah.
Because I want our people to take those jobs.
Yeah.
And I reach out to you, and you and I, that's why you were at my office that day, is how do we ignite people's spirit so that they can take advantage of these opportunities? Because you can't just like say, okay, I'll do that. You have to work for it. Yeah. And sometimes they got to work on upskill, right? Yeah. And so how do we connect those people with those opportunities? That's the challenge. And making sure that we're lifting their spirit, giving them hope, so that they will genuinely invest in themselves to invest in the opportunity, right? Yep. That's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. And I'm seeing that on multiple fronts, not only our community work. So we do promotions as well. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring entertainment to Ogden, because everything is out in Salt Lake and it's club based. So 21 plus. So we're trying to, like, we just had the Cap G show at the Copper Nickel, and a lot of people didn't know Cap G's credentials, but that's a multi-platinum artist that's worked with the best of the best. And it was a great turnout. Everything worked out perfect. But that was we did that with the intent to give the people another outlet, you know, especially the kids that are underage and can't go to these shows, you know. And so moving forward, that's what we're trying to do. But it was cool to see, because after that, you know, I was just at the barbershop just now, and the dude sat and waited for me to come because he knew I was coming, because my barber told him. And he was like, hey, I've been wanting to meet you, and, you know, like, I want to link. I like what you guys are doing for the community. Like, let's work together. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So to me, what that shows is people are watching and people are feeling that sense of hope. I may not be seeing them or know them directly, but it's happening.
Oh, yeah. I see it happening. Yeah. I mean, you can even just look at the numbers of people that are paying attention to your online platform, the number of shares that your videos are getting, the engagement level. Yeah. It's catching. Yeah. It's growing. And you guys, there were no issues with the event. People, everybody got along and everything went just fine. Yep. Right? Yep. And this is where I really want to take the next step and ask for your help. The last time we met is, and I think that you and Jamie, and Murray and a bunch of others, right? Andre, Antoine, a whole crowd of good-hearted people can help with finding people that are looking for opportunities, but it just requires that they invest in themselves. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It requires it. Yeah. Because that's what got you through it. You took ownership of your own spirit, of your own accountability, and your own behavior and decisions, right? Yeah. You're like, I got to get through this so I can get home. Yeah. And since you've been out, you've been working, raising your son, right?
That's the thing is the only difference that we're not doing anything spectacular. You know, people think that. It's funny because some people kind of hold you up to a certain, you know, and I'm like, man, no. The only difference is we just took a chance. We took a risk, you know, and there's a lot of reservations that people have, whether that be financially, mentally, emotionally. And, you know, I'm going through custody battle with my wife or the kids, or divorce or a loss or depression. And everybody goes through something, you know, like the story is deeper than just what we talk, but the only difference is we just took that chance, you know, and we've seen results. And that kind of keeps, I was telling Dre, now the train is starting to chug along a little more. Now we're catching traction and momentum and steam. Yeah. So,
well, you're starting to catch people's attention. You're enough that you're bringing them together. Yeah. Do you think we could take the next step and connect those people with opportunities?
I think we can. I think it's just like with anything. Like I was going to say with the Cap, is people don't believe that it's happening or it's real, or, you know, so they're kind of skeptical. But once the first batch, and then it's gonna, you know.
So maybe we can find 5 people from your circle. Yeah. That we can connect with certification for workforce development or something like that, right?
Yeah,
and connect with an employment opportunity. And
see, yeah, that I think one of my talents is I'm able to build connections with people, you know. Yep. And so I think that for me, thinking about that, like, it wouldn't be too hard. You know what I mean? It's really just going out there and putting in the work.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can read about what we're talking about is connecting people with opportunity. People talk about it in the literature. Like there's case studies, there's examples in other communities, there's meta data that is combined research from a bunch of different things, and they talk about hard to reach communities, etc. Really, what it is it's person to person. It's grassroots. It's boots on the ground, one-on-one within your circle of trust. People follow people they trust. They listen to the people they trust.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that they're going to sit here and listen to this podcast and be like, I'm going to go out and get a certification for advanced manufacturing so I can get a job in the aerospace and defense industry. Yeah. They're not going to do that based on what I say here. But I'm telling you that my business team's going to go out and develop and find those opportunities, and they're really, really good at it. Yeah. And when they bring them here, because they are already, how do we make sure that our people benefit from them? Yeah. Instead of just replacing all of our people with people that come from outside to take all those jobs. Yeah. I mean, in reality, it's probably going to be a mix of both. But if we aren't doing the work really deliberately locally with the people that we have here, like that's grow your own. That's grow Ogden, For sure. And it requires this sense of investment in each other. Yeah. And this connection with one another. And that's why it's the Ogden Way. It's because it's not just me. It's not just you. It's not just anyone. Yeah. It's us. Yeah. And that's what it's going to take. And if we've got to stop thinking about it programmatically and governmentally and start thinking about it more personally and socially, and you know what I mean? No, for sure. And I think that's one of Ogden's strengths is so when we talk, like we could easily do all this, like especially like the event stuff, like the concerts and stuff. We could do that in Salt Lake and it'd be a fine, right? But our investment is here in Ogden. And the reason like I push that so hard, especially, and me, Dre, and Twan were all on the same page, is that Ogden has a strength that nobody knows, but it's the unification. Right. I know we've got like a grit and determination that others don't. And we love, if we're behind something and support something, like they got our love and support for sure. Like our love's deep in this town for sure. For sure. Sometimes to a fault. Like we love it so much that we hurt ourselves. Yeah, for sure. We set ourselves back. We hold ourselves back. Whatever it is, it's crazy. But like the love in this town is deep. For sure. That's literally why I'm here. I mean, I'm giving up a ton of things to do this, and it's a blessing. Absolutely. 100% a blessing to do it. And it's fun to be surrounded by people like you that feel the same way. It's really electric. It's intoxicating to a degree, right? Yeah, for sure. Like that's my high. Yeah. Is working with people like you and people like Jamie. I think Jamie is a big time connector. Oh, for sure. Like she is so organized. Yeah. And effective. She communicates. She's got a network. She has got a huge heart. She wraps her arms around people. Yeah. Does the work to lift herself and lifting others alongside her. Yeah. Right. She's a perfect example of the Ogden Way. And I think you would credit her a lot for absolutely for helping you guys for sure. She's been a big, even now as a mentor. Like when we were up in the appropriations committee, she's like, Lorenzo, we have to learn this stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't be up there. You know what I mean? Like she's opening that door for me. That's not something that I would have known even how to approach. But even being like thought of with the request and having to talk on behalf and this and that, like to me that means a lot. Yep. I don't talk to Jamie a ton. I talk to somebody that I met through Jamie all the time. Yeah. And it's interesting because everyone that's around her really varies on the political spectrum too. Yeah. It's like you would assume because she's conservative. Yeah. We should have her here and let her speak for herself. But yeah, for sure. She's like, but really when you break it all down, she's about people. She really is. And that has no business on the left or on the right. Yeah. It's just humanity. And that's where I really want to focus is like the people. Yeah. Helping to lift them and connect them with opportunities. So I really appreciate that you've been willing to help be a connector. We've got some really great ideas where we can connect our business recruitment team with some community engagement team here. Yeah. That can get to the one-on-one level out in the community and scale it up through each other. Yeah. And then we could inform connectors of what those opportunities are if we have a aerospace company coming, they need to hire 200 people, for example.
Yeah.
What are the skill sets that they're going to need?
Yeah.
We can get with our partners up at the tech college to create the program to certify and prepare the workforce for the specific need that they have.
Yeah.
Right? That's the custom fit program that they have up there.
Yeah.
And then you guys could help us find the qualified workforce to connect with the education and certification opportunity to prepare for the workforce opportunity that's coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? That would be really powerful, right?
You know what, man? You know what I honestly think is I think God has it all in the works. That's what I think. It's just his timing.
Right.
It's not ours, it's his.
Someone told me recently, they said, when it's meant to be, it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so one of these days it'll get easy.
Well, you know what? When it's easy, man, you don't appreciate it as much.
Well, it's like easy to me doesn't mean that it was without struggle. Easy means that it felt right. It felt good. It still took energy. It took effort and work, but it felt good. It felt right.
Yeah.
And that's what in that setting when he told me that, we've worked on the thing that we were working on a ton. It has not been without struggle. Yeah. But it felt right.
Yeah. That's what I was actually telling Cindy that too, is like when we had reached out with Cap G, that the opportunities that came following that, but leading up to it was, we sat on it for months and then finally felt the calling, just like it just felt right. Hey, make the call, boom, boom, worked out. And now bigger things are in play, you know?
Well, sometimes it all hinges on taking a chance.
Really? That's it.
There's a lot of people that are better than they think they are.
Absolutely.
But they are not willing to take the chance because they don't recognize the power that they have within themselves.
For sure. And
right?
I think that's where it's crucial to have mentors and guidance, you know? Because like we were talking last time, I only know what I come from. Like there's other things that you only know what you know, you know? Mm-hmm. So when I think of things, like that's what I think of where I come from. I don't know what it's like to live in North Ogden and up on the hill, you know what I mean? Like that's not what I come from. But thinking with that, yeah, you need that guidance and that mentorship and that trust and belief and that consistency from the leaders is what's gonna pave the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm really blessed, thankful to know you. I'm really thankful that we get to work together.
Yeah, likewise.
I feel really blessed to be in this job, but I want to make sure that while I'm here, that we keep these kinds of connections so that you can. I mean, I want you to use the power that I have on behalf of others. Yeah. And I can't do all that by myself. I've got to have help from people.
For sure.
Right?
That's how it goes, yep.
And so if I'm given the directive to go find jobs that align with our opportunities for defense and aerospace or whatever economic opportunity we have, we can give those directives, but we ought to make sure that we're aligning community engagement efforts with our partners in education and certifications, right? Whether you want to be an engineer or a project manager or frontline worker in advanced manufacturing. Yeah. Some of those, there's different school trajectories for every one of those opportunities. Or if you want to get into a trade, or if you want to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. Or an entertainer, which has got an entrepreneur bent to it as well,
absolutely,
right?
For sure.
Whatever those things are that you want to do, we actually have a lot of resources here at this city and in this community that can support anybody and everybody that wants to do the work for themselves, right? Yeah. The key is connecting with people with those opportunities. Yeah. With those programs and resources.
And I think like we talked last time, I think there's a fun way to go about it too, especially like how I was saying, like, and you guys already had you guys both looked at each other and you're like, we was saying that same thing, but like with getting the kids involved, and could you get the kids involved and they feel a sense of being a part of something?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So going door to door and talking with the mentor, and because that's really all it is. You go door to door, you'll be good.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to building some special things with you.
Absolutely.
We already are.
Yeah.
But sure. To continue to and take it to the next level and to never be satisfied.
Yeah.
Until we know that people are put to work for themselves,
Yep.
Capitalizing on opportunity and earning more and creating more and becoming more. Yep. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
For as many people as we can.
Yeah.
Because that's how you build a community. Yeah. You build a city with a bunch of buildings and hard structures and stuff. You build a community by building up people and putting those people in those spaces, right?
You gotta let the people just feel a part of something. That's it. Because the truth of the matter is you're gonna have people that are at the bottom and at the top, and as long as they feel a sense of something, that pride, like the sense of like, despite where I'm at, like, I still feel a part of the city for sure. Like,
Yep.
that's going to go a long way.
And that's where you keep getting back to. It's all about the Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. That's it.
Okay, man. Well, Lorenzo, thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.
Lorenzo Gutierrez, appreciate you being here. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the episode. Before we finish up, we always have our call to action. Visit theogdenway.com. Find your way to our social media.
Okay.
Find your way to more podcast episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, subscribe, share, etc.
All of it.
Get some gear for the Ogden Way. We've got a store now that you can get branded. Right? That
Yep.
cup's yours. Thanks for being a guest.
That's my new coffee mug.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. And but also, we always finish every show with a call to action.
Okay, I'm a little nervous about this one, but
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're kind of the inspiration for the call to action.
Okay.
Because you are always calling yourself to action.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important part of the Ogden Way. We don't just talk about it, we actually do something about it. And it starts with ourselves.
Okay.
So for today's call to action, think introspectively, reflect internally. What are you doing to better yourself? What are you doing to take responsibility for your circumstances? What kind of challenges lie around you and what can you do about it? What kind of response or reaction are you having to the environment around you and what other people are doing and other people are saying? And what is your responsibility on how you respond, right? That is so important because it all starts with the mindset.
Yeah.
That if someone is out to hurt us, sometimes people hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
it's
hurt right now.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
But it's often up to us to decide how hurtful that is.
No, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the call to action.
You know what? As you were speaking about it, the first thing that came to mind as you read those off is align myself with God, stay close to Him.
100%.
And that's what I felt in my heart and in my just in my bones.
Good. And you and I talk like that all the
Yeah.
time because we both are men of faith.
Yep.
And there are other people out there that aren't, but that's why it's just important. You've got some kind of a North Star that you point to. If it's your belief in Christ, if it's a belief in some other kind of an energy or spirituality, a belief in someone else or a belief in yourself.
Yeah.
It's got to have belief so that you can have hope because you got to unite the human spirit in order to become something every day.
Yep.
Right?
There's big things at play.
Big things are at play all around us.
All around us. And
right.
This is the year.
When we're big things at play. So thanks for joining us. Until the next episode of the Ogden Way, Lorenzo Gutierrez, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.